Hello everybody, welcome to Talk About Houses. I'm Todd.
I'm Juana.
Okay, so we have a great video for you today. This is a legitimate thing. This is not anything we made up. So imagine this: you're out there trying to buy a house, and maybe you have a house to sell. So you have a home sale contingency, and you have to get a loan. So you're not necessarily super attractive to a seller, right? Because people want a cash offer, and they don't want to have to deal with home sale contingency. Okay. So what if that was you? You've got a home sale contingency or not, but you have to get a loan, and maybe it's FHA or VA or something that maybe has a harder time getting accepted, and appraisal contingencies and all these other problems. But what if your offer could be just like a cash offer, meaning you could beat out all the other people, without a home sale contingency, that don't have that aren't getting a really ugly loan, and you could just crush them with a cash offer, right? Now you're probably saying, wait, so how do I do this? How do I make a cash offer? And if I have to get a loan and I have another house to sell? Juana, let's talk about this. Right. So is there a way to do this?
Absolutely. So there are new loan programs out there, and by the way, we're not pushing loan programs. We're not loan people, and this is the reason why I'm not putting on this video who this particular company is, but there's more than one company doing it. If you have specific questions, please reach out to us, and we'll talk privately. But what we're trying to do is educate you about your choices as a buyer out there in a very seller-dominated market. And the idea is to teach you how to put out a cash offer even though you don't have cash. So here's the way it works: is there's a program out there that allows you to be a cash buyer even though you need a loan. The way it works is you make a cash offer. The offer is actually in the name of this bank program.
So let's say it's Banana Mortgage that has the bank program.
Okay, so let's call it Banana Mortgage. That's one of Todd's favorite names. So let's say it's Banana Mortgage. And so what happens is the purchase agreement is actually made in the name of the bank, not in your name, but it's all your terms, everything that you want. So it's a cash offer. Now, this is really good for you for several reasons. Number one, because it's a cash offer, you are likely to beat out financing offers, so that maybe you don't even have to be the highest offer, but you get to beat out other offers. Number two, it's a fast close, so that they'll close you in a couple weeks, because the only thing that it's contingent upon at that point is appraisal and your inspections and that sort of thing. You can also say that it's not contingent on appraisal, but you will have to make up the difference on the back end. So we'll talk about that in a minute. And then the transaction happens and you get to close, and that's great. Here's one of the really sweet deals about this. So now the bank that you are using to do this transaction with, they're going to close on this house, and they will let you move into the house. So you haven't even gotten a loan yet, right? So this is awesome. So you get to move into the house, and now they work on your loan. So your loan, the way that works is this loan is going to have all the traditional fixings of a loan, right? It's going to have an appraisal. It's going to have...
but while this is going on,
you're in the house.
They're living in the house.
Right. It's going to have all these things.
So let's go over this in some little steps here.
Okay.
So it's pretty clear to everybody, this is kind of like a bridge loan thing where they buy the house, you get to go move into it, but you're not making a mortgage payment. You're essentially paying them rent or something, right?
Yeah, exactly. You are absolutely paying the bank rent.
Okay. But when they title the house, it's in the bank's name. It's not titled into your house, in your name. So there's this thing like there's no such thing as a free lunch, and if it sounds too good to be true, it is too good. Right. There's obviously some gotchas going on in here.
Right. So look, the bank is not doing this out of the goodness of their heart. They're doing it because they want to be more competitive, and they want your business, and they're doing it because they're going to charge you, depending on where you are in the country, anywhere between 1.5% and 2% to sell you the house back to you. Right.
Okay. So that's a fee that you're going to have to pay.
Right.
When you do close on your loan, it's the money. It's like they're carrying costs for giving you the money up front.
Right.
They made the sale process easy, so they're giving you that, so you're giving them some money. So they make some money there. Okay.
Right.
What else? What are some other things?
So what happens is, this is what's really interesting. So when the bank is buying the house from the seller, all they're doing is a desktop appraisal. So that means that no appraiser actually goes out to the house. So it is incumbent upon you, your home inspector, and your agent to make sure the house is in good condition and to provide appropriate description of the house, because the bank is not actually physically sending out an appraiser, because remember, they're closing this really super fast, right? But on the back end, when they're selling the house to you, that appraiser that did a desktop appraisal, that means that he just had his computer and pulled the comparables and said, well, I think it's worth this much. Now he's actually going out to the house and visiting the house. Okay, so now he's going to do a full-blown appraisal with the pictures and the whole thing. So the idea is that we want to make sure that that desktop appraisal is not more money than the appraisal is going to be when you actually have to finance that purchase. So that's really important.
Okay, let's do this. Let's put the slide up, and then we'll go over some of the things in the slide.
Okay.
Because they're kind of pertinent to this. Okay, so we're going to jump over the loan programs. You can look at those. We'll talk about them. We're going to go down to the first bullet point: primary residence only.
Right. So this only works for a primary residence. So in this market where maybe you're trying to sell a house and buy a house, this is super cool because you can buy the house that you want, and then within 14 days you have to put the house that you are selling on the market. Okay, and you have to provide the comparables to the bank, but it's pretty easy.
Okay, what's this thing about 3% earnest money deposit? Because traditionally you pay about 1%.
Right.
So why is it 3%?
So very important point. So the earnest money is 3%, and the reason it's 3% is because if after the bank buys the house for you, if you don't close on the loan when they're selling the house to you, they get to keep that 3%. That is their liquidated damages for having bought the house for you, and now they have to go out and sell the house to somebody else because for whatever reason you're not buying the house.
Okay, but the 2% doesn't. The 2% that we talked about, the 1.5% to 2%, doesn't really play into effect here because that's only the transfer when you do buy the house. If you don't buy the house, you lose the 3% EMD.
Correct.
And that goes to the bank. It didn't go to the seller.
No.
The seller doesn't get that EMD.
No, because
the bank
technically you're not buying the house from the seller, you are buying the house from the bank because the bank bought the house for you.
Unlike most loan programs, you can't get gifted money, stick it in your checking account and go, oh, look, I have a down payment. The banks go, no, it has to be seasoned. It has to sit there for 90 days. But in this thing, you can have...
Absolutely. So this is one of the really cool things. If mom and dad are helping you, if grandma's helping you, brother, sister, whomever's helping you, and they're gifting you money, right on. Put the money in there, show them a copy of the check, show the bank statement. It's all good. Gift money, not a problem.
These credit scores are pretty good, 620 for Fannie, Freddie, conventional, a VA, or an FHA. Mm-hmm. What's really interesting thing here is now this is the bank put this out that does this. The
lender. Is not our slide. This is the bank slide.
Yeah, it's their slide. The conventional can be as low as 3% down, which is pretty nice.
Yeah.
The VA, of course, you get a VA loan for 0%. Mm-hmm. And then you, of course, have all the normal fees you have with those programs, if there's funding fees or things like that. Mm-hmm. FHA, 15%. That's unusual because normally an FHA loan is 3.5%.
Right.
But it's higher for this program. Yeah. Are there limits? Let's say you do get FHA. Mm-hmm. There's an anti-flipping rule.
Right.
So how does that take into account if you're buying it from the bank?
Right. So under normal circumstances, the bank will sell you the house and be able to close you maybe in a couple weeks, 2-3 weeks, right? And great, now you own the house and you only pay 2-3 weeks of rent to the bank. Fantastic. However, FHA has an anti-flipping rule that says that they can't sell you the house for 90 days. So that means that you will be renting the house from the bank for approximately 90 days, maybe 92, 93, whatever days, depending on what's going on with the calendar and whatnot. So that's when they'll be able to close you on an FHA. So you will be renting the house from the bank a little bit longer than you would on a conventional or VA.
Jumbo, 680 credit score, but up to $2 million loan amount, which is going to cover everybody not in California, right? Or maybe New York City. You could pretty much buy a house for under $2 million.
Look, this is a fantastic loan program because if you're sitting there and you're getting outbid by cash buyers and maybe it takes you 3 months to buy a house, that 1.5-2% premium that you're paying for using the bank's money, that may be a wash considering the rising prices of homes.
Okay, let's talk about that because that's really interesting. One of the things that people have said they like about our channel is that we use data. We don't make stuff up, and we don't just talk about opinion. But the other thing is we bring up some interesting points that like other people don't talk about. So let's talk about that. So let's say you've been trying for 3 months to get a house and you're getting beat out by other people. And in that time, home prices have gone up, say 5% in the last 3 months. You do get a house, but you just paid 3% more or 5% more. So this, in effect, if you can get in there, and this is a rising market. So if you can kind of get in there and get that cash offer accepted, you're not waiting for, missing out on houses while the market's appreciating.
Right, absolutely. One of the other cool things is, obviously, in order to do this program, the bank will qualify you on the front end. So that means that everything is going to be done before you ever make that cash offer. So you'll provide all your documentation to the bank. They'll do all their verifications and all that sort of thing. So that after they close on the house for you, and then they're financing your loan, that should close relatively quickly because they've already done a lot of homework on the front end. What's really nice for real estate agents is that they have the bank has transaction coordinators purely dedicated to the real estate professionals working on these offers with their clients, so that they're getting help right away. They've even divided the country into zones so that you have your dedicated zone for your transaction coordinator. Their response time that they're telling us is phenomenal. They're saying that if you provide them documentation before 6 p.m. in your time zone, they will have answers for you the same day, which is amazing, because if you know what it's like to work with loan people are great, but they're not the speediest people. So
and they're 24 hours.
And they're 24 hours. Can you believe that?
They're probably not all in the U.S. potentially.
I don't know. I have not used them, so I don't know.
So let's talk about something else very important. So from the listing agent perspective, this really isn't any different than a normal deal. You get a cash offer, the seller accepts it, it closes. The listing agent gets a commission check, the seller gets their money. The listing agent and the seller are done when the bank buys the house. This is different though on the buying side. For the buy, a couple big important things. If you're the real estate agent watching this and you want to talk to your client about this program. So when the bank buys the house, first of all, the agent doesn't get the commission right away.
No. So what happens is, so in order to do the program, both the buyer and the buyer's agent and the buyer's broker have to sign certain documents with the bank. And those documents basically say, look, Mr. Real Estate Agent, real estate broker, you are going to get paid whatever that co-op is when your buyer closes on the property, not when the bank closes on the property. So that commission is held in escrow until the buyer closes on the property. So if the buyer, for whatever reason, doesn't close on the property, that real estate agent does not get paid.
So let's say it's 100 bananas, and the 100 bananas go into escrow, and then they just sit there, and then that money gets released when the mortgage company / bank says, "Hey, we've deeded the property over to them. You can release the money now." That's how they get paid.
So the way I want to explain it to real estate agents, it's kind of like when you're representing a buyer on a new home sale, right? It might be a longer period of time before that buyer closes escrow because the home's not finished. So it might take longer than 30, 60 days to get paid. It's kind of the same thing here. If your buyer's doing FHA, then you're probably not getting paid for 110 days or something like that because of the time that it takes for the bank to close and for your buyer to close on this. So I want you to kind of understand that so that you're very clear on it. And make sure that you're advising your client as far as what's in the best interest of the client. You will get paid. Your client will close. It'll be fine. And it might be a fantastic program for what your client's looking for, particularly if your client has a property to sell. This is really a lifesaver for them because no one's going to accept a contingent offer in this market.
Yeah. And this could be huge for the buyer that's just getting beat out by either cash offers or people with better, putting more money down, because those have a higher percentage of closing. And a lot of that is because the agents the listing agent wants the deal to close. They want the seller to sell the house. They want to get paid. So they're trying to find the one that's going to be the best offer. It's not always the highest dollar amount. Right. So that's another thing, because we talked about savings. So you have this first savings, which is the savings of you're not waiting 3 months. You could get it house in a rising market. You can do that. But the other savings here is that you could, let's say that the house is listed for $300,000. And you've got a bunch of offers at 300, 305, 310, and you come in at 295 cash. They may just take your offer, even though it's not the highest offer. They may say, well, if you'll do 300 cash, we'll do it. We'll just tell the people 310 that we're getting a loan. We don't want to wait. We want to close in 2 weeks for 300. You're actually getting it cheaper than you would have got it, because you would have probably had to said, okay, I'll do 310. And you may not have qualified for 310. You may qualify for 300, but you might be on that edge. So there's potentially a savings there. Of course, the negative part is the 2%, 1.5% to 2% transfer. Now, the 3% EMD, though, is technically your money.
Absolutely.
It's just part of your down payment on the second sale.
Yes.
So the 3% you don't lose unless you don't buy the house.
Correct.
It's really the only cost, and assuming all other things are equal, that the loan program is the same as all other loan programs. It costs you 2% to do that. But you could make that up in the other soft things we mentioned.
Right. And the other thing, if you're a seller, this is something that you might want to bring up to your listing agent too, because look, if you are entertaining these offers that are financed offers, maybe one of those buyers is willing to do this program so that you don't have to take the risk of that buyer not qualifying for the loan and then having to put the house back on the market in 3 weeks or 4 weeks. You're going to get your money, in 2 weeks when this thing closes, and you're great. So that might be something for the sellers to consider discussing with their listing agent, so their listing agent can discuss that with the buyer's agent and get everybody kind of going in the same direction. What's interesting about this loan program is that the bank is actually doing trainings for the buyer's agents, so the buyer's agents are educated how the program works and how to write the offers, and they're giving the buyer's agents a transaction coordinator, like I said, to help them with everything, which is really unusual, because really what happens normally is the buyer's agents are left to their own devices, and once the deal has been agreed to, then they deliver that to the loan person, go, okay, good luck.
Right, and they move on to the next client or try to find new business or something like that.
Right, so this is kind of an opposite way of handling it, where the loan person is actually helping the buyer's agent write that offer properly, because of course it's the bank's money that is buying the property, because the property will be purchased by the bank will be on title, and then the bank is selling the property to the end buyer.
Okay, so pretty interesting program. You're basically being fronted the cash, buying the house on your terms in the name of the bank. Then later on you go through the process. What we don't know is the percentage of people that fall out from the time they buy it until the time they close. Maybe their company lays off people, or they just decide they don't want the house anymore, or something changes drastically, like they go buy a car or do something crazy and their credit drops below the limit, and they're like, oh, we can't do the loan now. Because these loans, of course, like most mortgage loans, they get sold off in the secondary market. So they have to meet these credit criteria, because that's what when you sell them as secondary market, that's what they want to see. Right. So they won't say, well, we'll just do it because it's 618, because now a lot of times they get stuck with it potentially.
Right. So please, if you do one of these programs and the bank closes on the house and you move in, please, do not buy anything. Do not buy furniture. Do not buy appliances. Do not buy anything. Okay,
don't go out and apply for a bunch of new credit cards.
Please don't.
Don't do any of that until it's closed, and your name is on title, and you're making a mortgage payment, not a rent payment.
Yeah, and the rent payments, by the way, are not onerous on these programs. They're really very fair. They're actually, in some cases, they're probably less than you would be paying on a per diem with the seller, so they're very reasonable. The bank is really trying to make things work, and remember, they're not doing it out of the goodness of their heart. They are getting paid for this. Their programs, as far as their interest rates on different loan programs, they're pretty much very similar to everything else out there, and the bank will only do this if you use them to finance your purchase when you buy it from them. So please understand that. So if you're using this program and the bank buys the house for you, you can't then say, well, bank, I'll buy the house from you, but I'm using some other loan bank, you can't do that. That's
No,
part of the
you
deal.
can't do it, right? Yeah.
It's part of the deal. So, there are limitations, but it is such a great way to be creative in this market with the loan programs. Like we said, particularly if you have a house to sell, or if you're trying to beat out loans with a cash offer.
Yeah, I think that's the benefit. To me, that's the benefit. The benefit is having done, we've done 3,000 of the plus, probably close to 4,000, but we sold over 3,000 houses, mostly from the perspective of the agent representing the seller. So we're very familiar with this thing that the buyer's agents, when we get all the offers, their sell job on why their client's the best, even though they're doing an FHA or VA loan that has much harder chance of getting accepted by the bank and getting in closing, and then having us try to tell our seller to ignore the conventional and cash offers that we have, even though they're probably very close to the same amount and there's much higher probability they're going to close. When a lot of times the seller's and we've seen this, it depends on the seller. Sometimes the seller's like, I don't care, I just want the most money. And then sometimes they say, I don't care, I have to leave in a month. So I need to move out and I don't want to go through this and have it fall out. So I'll just take that 100% guaranteed offer that's pretty much going to close, even though and we've seen 20,000 less. They just take it, right? So that's the benefit of the program, even though some costs in it. In a rising market, this is a great program. So like Juana said, we don't make anything from the program. We just literally found out about it, got educated, did a webinar thing where we learned about the program, and it's kind of interesting. It's another thing to think about. So we're not going to tell you who it is. You're just going to have to figure that out. But we just wanted to share that with you because we thought that was interesting, and that's kind of a unique thing. There's some startups who do similar things in that realm, but their market. The problem is they're market by market. They're in Atlanta, San Diego. Some companies that do things like this to assist the buyer to make the transaction a little easier.
Right. So if you really want to know who's doing these programs, please reach out to us privately. You can call us, you can email us, and then we'll put you in touch with the loan officer and the company that's doing it. We just don't want to.
They're national.
Yeah, they are national. They are all the way across the country. We just don't want to advertise somebody because we don't think that's what this is about. This is about educating you about programs that are out there. So if you're interested and you want to know more about it, please reach out to us and we'll be happy to help you. Like Todd said, we don't make anything out of this. I've never even gotten a Starbucks card from this company. Nothing. I'm not into it to get anything.
Cheapskates. Yeah. Banana Mortgage, they're cheapskates. Now, Banana Mortgage is going to send me a restraining order, cease and desist, stop mentioning our name on your video. So if there's a Banana Mortgage, we apologize.
That's right. That's right. No, but we're here to educate you and we're here to provide value to you. So hopefully this was helpful to you. If you know anybody who's buying a house, please share this video because it may not be something that their agent is aware of. And it may not be something that they're aware of, and it could be of value to them. So we're here to help. We're here to educate. So if you have any questions, reach out to us, email us, call us. Share the video, like the video, and hit the notification bell. And we'll see you on the next video. Bye.
Bye.